Hi there, everybody. My name is Kate, and welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. So, I want to talk to you today about resilience and what it is and what it isn't. Resilience is something necessary if we're going to keep getting up and waking up and popping it every day or sliming our way, whatever it is. It takes some level of resilience just to wake up in the morning and continue to be alive. It does take some amount of resilience. The resilience that a lot of people are carrying is resilience with resentment. They're fueled. Their resilience is fueled by resentment. And that is not true, authentic resilience that I want anything to do with, because the fuel of resentment needs more things to resent. And usually people that run on resentment, they have already a host of things, and as those things separate from them, or people get healthy and walk away from them, or their life deconstructs and explodes in front of them, they build up even more. They're bringing their own karma. They're setting up their own resentment cycle, which is what karma is, part of bringing those things to us that we've set up, not as a punishment to observe, man, this shit sucks, okay, that it's bringing more and more of it in a death spiral, that if people are fueled by the pain and fury of what's happening to them, then they don't use that in a truly resilient way, that is a healthy and righteous resilient kind of way. They'll end up feeding and fueling on their life. They'll get up in the morning resilient, they'll bounce back again angry or mad or sad or glad or not so much, but they're fueled more by the fire in the belly that's got nowhere to go up to the higher chakras to help refine that and forge that a bit in the fire. They just come out swinging with life every day, or they come out with the fire to wake up, enough to wake up and be victimized again, to answer the call of whatever that cycle is that they're stuck in. And usually we're dancing back and forth between being the victim and the victimizer. However, most people predominantly are going to act in one way or the other. And so what I'd like to suggest is that righteous resilience involves, I'm face down in it, I've got my face all the way planted, and I'm going to get up in the righteousness of what I know is the right thing to do. And the right thing pardon me, the right thing is never going to be looking outside of us to see what we can do to somebody else to bring judgment and to hurt another person because we were hurt. Hurt people hurt people. Yes, they do. And I would suggest that when we're in those scenarios, unless we like looping around in that, constant state of that we not stay in the cycle of continuing to hurt someone that hurt us. And it can seem like we're hurting people if we walk away from them. However, that's the kind thing that we can do, friend, is to walk away and leave them with nothing but an empty space in front of their face for them to figure out, I wonder why I don't have a sparring partner anymore. And people are left with their own resilience, righteous or not, to be angry about it, to find another victim, to find somebody else to box with, to find somebody else to be mad and angry or victimized with or for or over. We leave them to go do that, or we leave them to decide, hey, if I was going to self-reflect about why this person dumped me at the curb, or said, I can't do this anymore, I got to go, or however they left, we leave them there to do that inquiry if they're going to. However, staying there and trying to force someone to see our opinion, see our way, understand our value. If people understood your value or understood the worthiness of you, they would already understand the worthiness of them, and they would be able to identify that in somebody else. However, if somebody has already displayed to you, where they've already introduced the grizzly of themselves to you, believe them. And the codependency that we foster in one another is believing that we love our way into helping people see, but I see the great potential in you. That's awesome. That's really great. I can see the greatest potential in other people too. However, if they don't see that about themselves, you can't see it for them, and they won't care that you see it for them. They will be angry because they feel the disparity somewhere deep inside of them, whether they're conscious of it or not. They feel that disparity deep inside of them, and they will not want to be reminded that they're not reaching their best space, especially in front of people that might be calling them out on that. So it is really not a good idea unless people are workable and teachable there's not a whole lot we can do to say, yeah, wow, this really doesn't work. Do you see what you're doing to me? If they saw what they were doing, that means they would be sensitive enough, mature enough, and emotionally intelligent enough and connected enough to know not to do it in the first place. They would be sensitive people. They would be people that are empaths. Frequently, though, empaths, light workers, star seeds, earth angels, however you identify your beautiful seed you, light seed you, that they will not see you the same way that you are. We're frequently placed in dark places because those people don't see that way, and they need a little halogen bulb to come blazing through. However, it doesn't mean the halogen bulb is to sit there and try to light up the whole deep dark tunnel that people are in. When we see light at the end of the tunnel, if you constantly are going to provide the light at the end of the tunnel, that's assuming that you're not going to have to keep running back down the tunnel to coach people a little bit further and then try to get on with your life. But wait, and keep extending. That doesn't work. It turns into a game that ends up being this around and around and around, again and again and again, that we never quite make it out again. And the truth is, as brutal as it sounds, folks, I know this sounds really terrible, and it's okay. It happens to be the truth that the most loving thing we can do is to acknowledge where people are, be kind as possible, however kind they'll let us be, and leave them to decide for themselves, because the strongest position that we can ever have is when we nourish ourselves and nurture ourselves and learn how to provide for ourselves, and we come to our aha, on our own. Even if we hear a tip off of someone else saying, hey, have you considered this perspective? It is us that is willing to open our minds to even consider this perspective being given to us. However, if it's a forced learning environment, we will learn and regurgitate, and regurgitated information rarely has passion with it. It rarely has somebody's personal take on something. It is not their absorbed experiential learning from that. It's not their experience of it. It's the regurgitated, boring clinical information of it. It's a mind programming of some kind, more than likely, rather than a person's own passion and their own spirit and their own little God seed inside being tickled and speaking for them and with them and through them. It's usually something else that's been installed in them. And so the way to hack all of that is to hack our own first and be able to identify. I get birds going across. Thank you to the crows and the magpies. That when we're trying, the best mind hack that we can do is within ourselves, to be able to identify people that they're not ready for the information that I have. And if you want to keep chasing people down, and waving your light and saying, but don't you see? I haven't found that to be very helpful for anybody, because people, if they wanted to see that or they could see that, they already didn't see it. There's no way you're going to be brighter, and go back down a deep, dark tunnel even brighter than you were before, when people were already going, no, I don't want to see, or what is that? Ew. That you're going down even brighter, and it's going to just piss people off some more, and reject us some more. So even though it's very isolating sometimes, it's very scary sometimes, it's very sad, blah, 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 when we get out of the emotional blockage of it and stop feeling rejected by people who already rejected us, deal with the rejection, deal with the abandonment, which is no laughing matter. It's quite sad, and we have to coax and comfort those places in us that feel that felt that lived through that, because the 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old person that we are that's being rejected, that's not truly who we're meeting in the mirror whenever we're comforting and cajoling and sweetening and softening that space within us. We're meeting the children decades ago that were left at the curb for whatever reason we were. Most of us, our stuff started long before we got to be the age of whatever we are today. And if we go back and we really try to reach and deeply reach into that child magical space and marry up the eternal child magical space with the actual human face of what was being presented to the world when we were 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it was, when we developmentally were understanding that I'm different and people reject me, I'm different and people don't like me, I'm shining in what I think is a really cool way and people are wanting me to go away, I don't understand, why don't you like me? And if I just dance a little harder, because that's the programming that we were given to do, is dance a little harder, try a little more, or go away and be quiet, be silent, be absolutely non-existent in front of me. When we try all of those things, because that's what we know to do, that's what we were taught to do, that carries up into the adult that we are today. And it's the adult that needs to go back and look at, what is the child in me? Who is the child in me? What part of me? What parts of me, not just one age 3, one age 1. There's multiple fractals of us that we can go back and address, because when our energy is splintered as children in traumatic situations where something happens and it just fractures our energy, our coherence that we had as children, it gets split out into a zillion different little pieces. And that's the soul fragment, if you will, that when we go back and we really align here with that coherence of, I really am looking 1010 to rejoin and integrate again those parts of me that I remember that injury. And the minute we begin that inquiry and those kinds of conversations with self, we begin to really bring in the self-trust within us, that says, hey, I care. The adult that's speaking right now, I care, and I have child magical inside of me, that effervescent, infinite spot of me, the most magical part of me, whatever you call that God seed in me. That's the part that's going to guide this conversation with me to come back to, when I was 1, 2, 3, 9 months old, whatever it was, when I can last remember a time when I just kind of zoned out and fractured out and lost all my faith in anything being good anymore at whatever level I did. And the minute that we begin that conversation, we begin building the trust with self, and we forget that we're out here trying to find trust. We lose interest in doing that. It becomes vitally much more important for us to reach in here first, 1111, because that part of us is desperately asking us every time we act out here, and we don't answer that, and we keep going in that loop. That's who's asking. 1122 is that part of us that says, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of you. Can you please listen to me? Can you please answer the call of me? I am so desperate for you to hear me and stop talking to the toddler over there. They're not more important than me. And when you're peddling me over there to the mom, the dad, the sister, the brother, the husband, the children, the boss, the job, the whatever, when you keep prostituting me over in that direction, trying to get them to see me and see my value, I was already made invaluable back here, and I need you to see me and make me valuable, and stop asking them, because I already know they didn't want me, friend. They already didn't want me, and for whatever reasons, okay, we're not going to tell the childish part of us, that childlike part of us, we're not going to tell that part anything that makes sense to them about 1212, why they were not accepted, why they were not wanted, etc., and why they were abandoned or traumatized or hurt. We aren't going to be able to tell that little child part of us that information. However, the God seed inside of us knows how to soothe the child regardless. It's a split off in the personality and in the mind that sounds quite crazy. However, it works. Internal family systems works. It's a system. However, no formal system is necessary if we're listening to our own insides and coming in there and asking, who in me needs to hear from me right now to build the trust that I can hear, that I have discernment, and I have God seed information that's going to help me reach you no matter where you are, no matter what's happened to you, that I love you, and whatever means it is that gets you to that space. I highly encourage you to get there and do that. If it's affirmations, if it's journaling, if it's artwork, if it's speaking, singing, dancing, walking in the mountains, whatever it is, playing golf. I mean, I don't know what it is. I just know that the zone 1313 is the zone, and that there's 6.5 billion people on the planet. Then there's at least 6.5 billion different ways that we reach that spot. There is no one place, no one way that we all have to go. It's a matter of getting to the heart-mind coherence of us, and that will guide us on the way to go. And sure, they may look similar to other people. However, it's okay to not self-abandon by not even trying something because it doesn't look like the right way. The right way, baby, is to find your babies, and that's the right way to do it. There is no wrong way to do that if it's meeting your needs. So anyway, I hope that that's helpful to you in some way, and I hope that you enjoy your day no matter what part of the day you're in, my friend. There's Hondo saying hello. And get within your skin, because you're divine. It is absolutely gorgeous, totally beautiful, and it's so, so, so capable, so loving, excuse me, so clear, and able to help you right here, right now. Take care of you every single time. Take care of you, and I will see you again, 1414, again next time. Bye-bye, my friends. Mwah.